Kakadosh Boker Or Bekiim Halacha 6, day 48, page 120, Siman Kufnun Tet 159, Halacha Kav Gimel 23. ליטול ידיו משאר נשים אסור אפילו טהורה, אפילו אינה נוגעת בו. So it says here it's forbidden to have any other woman besides obviously the relatives listed above, which was basically the mother, sister, and daughter, to pour the water in the man's hands, whether or not she's a nida or not, right? And even if she's not touching him at all. Look in the footnote 1 in 63. That Rav Chida implied that it's permissible to have a Jewish maidservant who is not a nida pour the water on her employer's hands. If she is a nida, she should avoid it. The Rishon LeZion then pointed out, however, that although Maran and Shulchan Aruch said that it's permissible for a woman who is a nidat to pour water on the man's hands, that applies only to immediate relatives, such as a daughter, as the Teretz Zakidim explained, any other unmarried woman who's a nida, and certainly a married woman, whether she's not a nida or not, may not pour it. As Maran ruled in Shulchan Aruch, Even HaEzer, that it's forbidden for a woman to wash one's face, hands, or feet, since these are considered chibawa, like the doctor said, which is basically intimate acts. The Rishon LeZion made a similar comment regarding the rulings of the Yafel Alev. The Rishon LeZion then suggested that it might be permitted if the woman pours cold water, bringing support for this from the words of Rabbeinu Menachem Meiri. He then demonstrated that we may not rely upon this, since the Rashba and other Rishonim rule specifically that it's forbidden even with cold water. He then suggested another way to permit it, based on a comment by Rav Pinchas Horowitz, that if a woman offers to serve the man without him asking for it, it's permitted. The response Aleph Lechashemon refuted this leniency, however. In conclusion, it appears that Rishon LeZion ruled stringently in the matter. The Halacha Brura also concurred with this, remarking that this is even more important in today's overly permissive society. So basically, nowadays, you're not allowed to have a woman, and the truth is, it's only svara. Like, imagine right now, you're going to have a woman come and start pouring you water. And we're not just stam pouring you water that she's a waitress. We're coming and she's doing you Netilat Yadayim. It's a little bit, these are things which are a little bit much more. Now, again, we're not talking about a caregiver and the guy's sick in bed and he doesn't have a meal and so on and so forth and things of that. We're talking about that, these are things which
That
are a
would
little
be
bit.
Well enough. If it is a sick person, could be in a hospital.
Yeah, exactly. They're
And the
100%.
nurse could
100%. That's exactly what it said. That's why we're not talking about that because that's something different. Here we're talking about a regular case. This is that, Iowa, like where's he going? You understand? Halakha number 24. It is forbidden for a woman who's an idah to pour the water in her husband's hands for Netilat Yadayim, even if she avoids touching him. This is considered an intimate act. And while she's an idah, they have to refrain from any acts of intimacy. Okay, even without physical contact. Okay, it is permissible, however, for the woman to fill a container with the water so he could use it for Netilat Yadayim. And if they refrain from this as well, tavo lehem beracha as well. Okay, so that means even with this, it's still better not to. Okay, halakha 25. Okay, some poskim rule that it is not possible to perform the mitzvah of Netilat Yadayim by having a trained monkey pour the water on one's hands. You remember we spoke about the monkey? Yeah, so what does that mean? We said, right, that he comes and he says that we should not come and so we're going to, today, now we're speaking about monkey. So others rule that one can perform the mitzvah in this manner, and this appears to be the halacha in practice, right? Which means if you remember, we said that nirin divrei that it's kosher. So shulchan aruch is that it's mutar. Ashkenazim no. After the monkey has poured the water on one's hands, one must say the beracha, obviously, of Netilat Yadayim. Look in the footnote. Maran cites both opinions in the Shulchan Aruch, and he ruled leniency. So again, Maran brings it down. He brings down both opinions, and he says you could be lenient. Okay? זאת אומרת, אתה יכול לקחת קוף. Yeah? So take a monkey, train him, and then the monkey will do for you Netilat Yadayim every morning. Okay? The Magen Avraham wrote. Yeah, exactly. It will be the same thing. The Magen Avraham wrote. Why not? What's the difference? That's koach gavra. That's koach of the monkey.
Yeah, but
We're going to see once the Magen Avraham wrote that if someone did perform Netilat Yadayim using a trained monkey, even the Rama agrees that he has fulfilled the mitzvah. Meaning, it's only a din lechatchila not to use a monkey, but b'diavad you could use a monkey even according to the Rama. The Rabbi, however, ruled that he should perform the mitzvah again without saying a bracha, and if he has no more water, right, he still could eat the bread relying upon the Netilat Yadayim of the monkeys. Sephardic Jews may be lenient in this matter since we follow the rulings of Maran, although the Kaf HaChaim, he will rule stringently. Okay, that one must not say the bracha, right? That's what he said. Why? The Halacha Brura refuted this, And he explained that, we follow the lenient opinion to go do with halachot of Netilat Yadayim. And once we decide that Netilat Yadayim is valid, so therefore you can make a bracha. The Lachabra added that when the monkey pours the water, the person must have in mind that it's going to be through this act that he's allowed to eat bread. And if he does not have this in mind, so he has to do the Netilat Yadayim again. You remember we said that you needed the kavanah of Netilat Yadayim, whether it's for one person has to have the kavanah, whether it's the one doing the Netilat Yadayim or the one receiving the Netilat Yadayim. So here, since it's the one that's doing it cannot have the kavanah, but it's a monkey, right? Or it would be a robot, but it would be the one that's receiving it then would be able to do it. Now, what about other trained animals? So the Kavach Chaim, the Maran in the Kesef Mishnah wrote, okay, that he's unsure about trained animals other than monkeys. Rabbeinu Manuach ruled that all animals are equal, but the Meiri wrote that the Rambam permitted only a trained monkey since its features are similar to those of a human being. Okay, so now here you have it. So maybe according to this, maybe it's going to be, but listen, soon those robots are going to be more human beings than human beings. Yeah, the Sefer Batim cites two opinions. Yeah, in the matter, he concluded that all animals are equal. As long as a living creature pours the water consciously, the act of Netilat Yadayim is valid. The Yadabah ruled wisely, right, that all animals are equal, explaining the Mishnah just mentions monkey just because, you train them. So he says, Al-Khabra noted that there's going to be also multiple reasons to say other animals pouring is not valid. First of all, many Rishonim hold that even trained monkey cannot do the mitzvah, and even according to the Rambam who ruled that you could do it, he says maybe it doesn't apply to other animals. Since the was undecided, so therefore you shouldn't use other animals. So again, it's not that simple.
According to these, a robot cannot be.
Yes, according to this. Okay. Last halacha, immersing hands in a river. 26. If someone immerses his hands in a ma'ayan, he has fulfilled the mitzvah Netilat Yadayim. This is the halacha, even if the ma'ayan contains less than 40 sa of water, as long as he's able to immerse his hands entirely in the water, he may also recite the blessing of Al Netilat Yadayim for this act of immersing his hands. Okay? So a mayan is a spring, a body of water that is fed constantly by underground streams. It is possible to immerse in a mayan, right, and become tahor, even though the water continues to stream into the river or sea. The halachot regarding a mayan are different than those of a mikveh. So you've got a mayan. So the mayan is the flowing river. That's different than a mikveh. So he says a mikveh is a pool of rainwater. It's possible for a person to immerse his body or his hands in a mikveh only if it has 40 seah, as explained in the following halacha. But if the body of water is a mayan, he may immerse his hands even if it has less than 40 seah. Okay? The same.
Of the
yes, exactly. Which one? Yes. Yeah.
But question. Rabbi Mansour.
So he says like this. He says a mikveh is a pool of rainwater. It's possible for a person to do it only if it has 40 seah. He says a mayan, right? He can immerse his hands even if it contains less than 40 seah. The same applies of immersing kelim, right? It is in a mikveh you need 40 seah, in a mayan even if it's not, right? So he says some poskim rule that it is possible to immerse one's entire body in a mayan containing less than 40 seah, but the halacha in practice does not permit this. Regarding Netilat Yadayim, however, the halacha is to be lenient. Okay, the Chavakim recommended the one refrain from immersing the hands in a mayan containing less than 40 seah if it's possible. This is because Maran commented that it is unclear whether Rabbeinu Asher ruled that it is permitted. He added that even if someone must perform the mitzvah in this manner, he should not say the bracha. Nevertheless, it is clear that Rambam permits immersing the hands in a mayan, right? And this is the ruling of the Shulchan Aruch. Even according to the Rosh, it might be permitted. Therefore, we can follow the principle of the going according to the lenient opinion. And once we have established that one may do the mitzvah, so you can make a bracha on it. The Rishon LeZion pointed out that as well, that adding the Beit Ishchai agreed it is likely that you can make the bracha when immersing the hands in a mayan, right? He says it would be improper to perform the mitzvah in a manner that is invalid according to some poskim. Therefore, the Lachabra says that one should choose to use a container in this case. Meaning, he just says it's better to use a container, okay? Because again, there's some opinions that it's a problem, okay? Now, what about what's the minimum amount of water? So he says, Maran and the Shulchan Aruch wrote that the mayan must contain at least enough water to enable a person to immerse his hands completely at one time. The Mishabra added that although it is permissible to immerse the hands at one at a time, so the mayan must contain enough water to enable a person to immerse both hands at the same time. He explained in the Sharatzion that when one person immerses his body in the mayan, there has to be enough water to cover the entire body. So therefore, when you do Netilat Yadayim in the mayan, it has to be the same thing. That has to be both hands at once. Meaning you still need to have both hands at once inside the water. The Chazon Ish, however, understood from the Shulchan Aruch that it is necessary only for there to be enough water to immerse the hands one at a time. He explained that technically there's no minimum of water for a mayan, as long as there's, again, enough to actually perform the act of immersing each hand entirely, even one at a time, it is going to be valid. He commented that the ruling of the Mishabra is unfounded.